Welcome back to another one. Little bit of a late one. The reason for it is, which we'll get into more sort of as we go along, is as you can tell by the title, I've done two raves in one weekend, and when I got sort of like home, I've done quite a fair sort of bit of sleeping. So now I'm kind of at that point where I'm still tired, but I'm awake, so I probably won't be able to sort of like switch off. So, yeah, but welcome back to another the weekend antics. So, if you don't watch these or you're not familiar with these are just basically where I sort of talk a little bit about what I've done over the weekend. If we've not had like a booking, or like I've just had a weekend where I've just got up to something interesting in general, we do like a little weekend, the weekend antics kind of thing. So yeah, I've got a can of Monster this time of night. These don't do anything to me really, unless I have like say two in at night. But if I just have like one can, chances are I'll still sleep like a baby, which is a crazy thing. So this weekend has been quite a weekend. It's been a really enjoyable, fun weekend. So we might as well kick off, obviously, with Friday, which is the beginning of the weekend. So Friday, I was working on Friday. I did some extra hours and I also swapped some hours around. So last week, as I'm sure you're all aware, especially you parents that have babbies, it was half term. So it was a half term weekend. And essentially, no kids at school. So a couple of staff members at work, they took a few days off because of the half term. And anyway, cutting the story short, it was recommended that I worked on the Friday instead of the Thursday, so I wasn't sat in the office on my own at work. So that's what I obviously decided to do. So I woke up on Friday morning. Now on Thursday I had a couple of things to do, so I did end up going into work. So I did a couple of hours actually on the afternoon. It was kind of unintended, but it kind of just made sense because I had to go and do something, and it was just easier to do it there while I was in town, and it just felt like it was the right place to do it, kind of thing. And anyway, cutting the story short, I woke up on Friday morning to a text message that I didn't expect, and I got a cost of living payment essentially. Like I knew I was due to get it, I just didn't know when it was gonna come. So I got that. So that kind of put me in like, let's say, Friday spirit, because I was kind I'm waiting, for payday from work, and it's got a little bit, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I've been, let's just say, a little bit, been struggling a little bit more this time due to an ongoing situation that, like I say, I won't get into, but all is good. All is hopefully going to be good in the end. And anyway, cutting the story short, it just sort of it came at the right time. It really came at the right time. Where I just thought, you know what, the weekend's coming up. I could, really just need a pick me up to get me through the weekend, and it came at the right time. So that kind of excited me, and it was like a code that you get on your phone, and then you have to take it to like a shop, and then they put the scan a barcode and they give you the cash. And went to about two or three different shops that said they no longer can scan these codes anymore, and then finally had to wander my way all the way to a post office just to be able to do it, which was kind of like, oh, come on. um So I did that, and then obviously went to work and sort of had a really good vibe, and then did some extra hours and was helping out with, believe it or not, I was helping out with a football tournament. So very strangely enough, like I hate football and I can't stand football really, but at work at the youth centre place, we were doing like a little bit of a football tournament thing, and I actually really enjoyed myself. Believe it or not, it was actually really fun. It was to say I'm not really a football person. Um, it was just really fun. Now, I obviously wasn't playing football. I wasn't necessarily participating in any matches. It was more just kind of watching them play football and then kind of just like bringing out some snacks and drinks. And believe it or not, there was a good like 28 sort of kids that sort of attended to came to the youth centre to take part in this football tournament. So it got divided into like got divided into like teams, and then like team one, team two, and then we sort of played like sort of shortened down kind of like 15-minute matches each, and it was just really fun to watch, and everybody was just having a really good time. um and it was just a really good vibe, so I did that. And then after that, it was all about the rave vibes. So a good friend of mine, Owen NRG, it was his birthday. He's a bounce DJ, and rightly so. He's absolutely smashing it. Sets he plays behind the decks, they're just absolutely unreal, and his mixing is second to none. You can't fault it. So it was his birthday, and another friend of mine called Tyler, they put a rave on for him. They put an event on for him. So they launched an event, but the launch event was in Owen's birthday. So it was like a free entry thing in Mexborough, which is just outside of Doncaster. So my friend was going to photograph. So I just thought, yeah, I'll come along. Why not? Gonna come along to this, and really good vibes, really enjoyable. Ended up, of course, it always seems to happen. Ended up going on the mic. Ended up going on the mic on stage, having a really good time, spitting all kinds of bars on stage, going out, and live on stage to a crowd. And there was a bit of a crowd, believe it or not, for like a little free birthday thing. It did, and this isn't, nothing against the event or the promoter. I don't know, just something thought it isn't going to be like mega busy. I don't know why. I just thought it'd be just a nice little quiet sort of birthday thing. But people came out in force, and it was raving away. It was really good to see. So, was on the mic, doing little bits and bobs and spitting bars and going 10 to the dozen. Definitely. So that was really good. I got back at like I got back at like silly o'clock as well. Um, it was like, when was it? Sounded like you had a great. Oh, it was really good. I think I got back at like, I don't know if it was like R4 or something like that. It was really good. So Tara says hello, hello. Big ups to Tara. At this time. Yeah, so I got back about sort of R4. I think I was quite shattered. Came in, sort of went to bed. Woke up, Saturday vibes. Woke up a little earlier than I thought I would, and do you know what I mean? And had a coffee and just thought, what am I going to do today? And decided that I wanted to do a live stream, and then quickly remembered that silly little me did something stupid the other week. and I think I might even be able to actually show you. So let's see if I can actually show you, which I think I can, which is quite incredible. So a couple of weeks ago, I was doing a live stream um, for just on Facebook. I think it was. I was doing a live stream, and anyway, cutting the story short, when I do a live stream, because of where my decks are and where my computer is, I have to stretch a wire along, and because it's in a lot of ways it's not long enough. Like I have to stretch it a certain way to make it reach, and it kind of comes across my bedroom floor. You've got to be careful, and you've got to step over it, and be careful that you don't trip over it. So me being the silly me, I tripped over it, and I yanked the lead out of the back of the decks. And I didn't think anything of it at the time. I just thought, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that. Looked at the wire, everything looked all fine and good, so I just put it on the side. Got busy with work, got busy, doing other bits and bobs and, doing other things. And then probably about a week or so after, I decided, let's plug that wire in and let's see if that wire works, and let's see if we can get a live stream going. And I plugged the wire in, sadly getting no sound. The sound was kind of coming and going, but it was really hard to sort of pick it up, and I knew that the wire was just on its way out. So I was having a little bit of a wiggle around, and I couldn't get no sound. I was trying, nothing. So getting no, well, when I say sound, like getting no sort of line input. So when I go live, the live stream wasn't picking up the audio from the decks. So in the end, I thought, just have to give it up as a bad job. So I pulled the wire out and unplugged it, and the wire snapped, as you can see. So here's the side that's not snapped, and then here's the side that snapped. And the side that snapped, you see the little end point here, just this real little end point. You can see what I'm just touching now. This got stuck and it stayed inside of the port. So like this little bit here, as you can see, I've just knocked it off this one. I don't know where it's just gone. Here it is. So I can actually show you, because this wire's had it now anyway, but this real little point here, as you can see, this has stayed in the port of the decks. So it stayed in the decks. So like I can't plug another wire in. Like there's just no way. Because obviously this little point is in the port, and it stops me from putting another wire in. So I've been kind of a little bit screwed for live streaming. And then yesterday I was thinking, how can I still sort of do a live stream, and how can I still get it to work, and how can I get the live stream to pick up the audio without going out of the booth output on the decks. And then I kind of thought, well, why don't I hook the RX up to record box and then stream the record box audio, so the desktop audio, into OBS. So I decided to do that, and after a little bit of playing around and faffing about and having to install some drivers, it actually worked. The only issue was the record box was making the OBS, the OBS, sorry, was making the record box lag. So everything I was pressing on the controller, there was just like a sort of like a slight second delay before you'd hear something. So if you was in the mix and you put flanger on, you wouldn't hear the flanger come in for like just a second. Like it would come in, but you wouldn't hear it, if that makes sense. So it was almost like there was just a lag in your headphones. And then if you was like, if you pull the volume fader down, you'd still hear the sound for like a split second, and then the sound would cut. So it's just a little bit like, you can still mix on it, and you can still get everything in time, and there's no issues on the stream. It's just when you're actually mixing yourself, there's just a real slight little delay in your headphones, just a real slight little bit of a lag, um, which is just a little bit annoying because it almost feels like the buttons aren't responding just instantly because of the lag, even though they are. It's just the way like you hear it. Almost kind of the only way to explain it is if you try using a controller, or like playing a piano app and your phone is connected to a Bluetooth speaker. That is kind of the only way to kind of sort of like describe it. It kind of sounds like that, so you just get like a real little like a second delay before you hear anything, even though it has actually like corresponded and pressed. So apart from that, it was all good. So I jumped on a live stream and it just played a load of bounce tunes and just had just had a load of fun essentially, and just I was jumping around and just having a bit of fun, just enjoying myself essentially, and just went live for just about an hour or something, or just over an hour, and it was a shed load of fun. Just played through some tracks and just like I say, had real fun, and then decided that I'm absolutely starving. Let's get something to eat. So I went to the shop and got some stuff to cook for tea, and got these like real chunky chips, and they just didn't all fit in in the chip pan. Some of them cooked and some of them didn't. I was just proper starving, and I was thinking, what do I do? Do I go across to the takeaway and get something, or do I like go and get something in Heron? And I just didn't know what to do. I just felt really hungry, and just decided that get sausage and chips and cook that, and yeah, the chips just didn't do so well, unfortunately. Sausages, frying pan, absolutely spot on, but the chips just kind of really let it down, and I just couldn't find any good chips. Like like there was the McCain ones, like because I don't like little French fries really, unless I'm like takeaway or like McDonald's or something, because the French fries, it's like they cook too quick, and they get real like like the edges go like too crispy on them, and then like some of them don't cook at all, and it just like really annoys me. I just like normal sort of like chunky chips, but the ones I'd picked were like these like extra chunky chips, like really big chips, like ones you'd get in a chip shop, and they're just yeah, just a little bit of a regret, to say the least. So I ate what I could of that. Kind of put me off a little bit because I was really hungry and looking forward to something, and then it just didn't go the way I sort of planned it to go. And then I got ready and headed out to the second rave of the weekend. Good, but not so good. So the second rave was unfortunately, we all came together through bad circumstances. So a good friend of mine, who I know from the raves, goes to raves, blah blah blah. Cut a long story short, she has a 4-year-old daughter who has been diagnosed with a rare form of brain cancer, and I've never heard of this brain cancer before, hence why it's a rare form, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. And they've been raising money to do sort of like some fun things with what time they've got, unfortunately, to try and make it fun. So she's got some enjoyable time and things to do, and they've been fundraising for weeks. But one of our, as I always say, it's the best venue in the UK, the Doncaster Warehouse. They kindly clubbed together and they put like a fundraising event on, with some DJs and some MCs playing, and they did like raising money for Skylar, who is obviously going through hell at the moment, and so is the parents. So, it was only right to go down and show support, given obviously the circumstances and the situation, and it was weird. Like, I'm not gonna lie, because it's not like your normal sort of happy rave, which is understandable during the circumstances. But you kind of feel like you don't know how to act. Like, if you're dancing around too much and having fun, does it look like, you kind of like, does it look disrespectful, kind of thing? But then at the same time, you just kind of think like, what do I do? How do I act? And because what do you say in them situations? And you know, just horrible and heartbreaking. But it was good to go and see sort of like, what was going off, and sort of pay sort of like some support and stuff. And because obviously it's a terrible thing. So obviously big ups to the Warehouse for putting that together, and all the artists, the DJs and MCs that clubbed together, and it played. And the rave I was at on the Friday, they also had some charity buckets going around the rave as well, with people to obviously donate as well. So obviously big ups to everybody coming together, clubbing together, and showing support. And people obviously donating and stuff. It's obviously amazing, all the people that have come together and got behind it. And it shows sort of as like a rave family, that when it comes to stuff like that, like the rave family comes together, and it's really nice to see. So like I say, big ups to the Warehouse for doing it. And it was nice to see people out there showing some love, and just getting behind a good cause. And obviously it's just a horrible situation that I wouldn't envy anybody to go through, not even my worst enemy. To find out something like that is obviously truly terrible. And the family will be going through hell. And so it's nice that people can sort of club together and get behind something. um so that I was obviously there, and the tunes were good, that the sets were going off. And then sort of left, and the rest is history. The weekend's history. And just sort of really been chilling, been sleeping, been resting. Tonight I just felt like putting some vinyl on, and tried to do a vinyl mix, and just didn't really go to plan. Unfortunately, I need another head shell, and needle and stylus. Just unfortunately, the one I've got on my it would be my left deck, on my left deck, if I'm right in saying, yeah, on my left deck. The stylus is just not that good. I got a cheap like 16 quid stylus off of eBay, and good. Unfortunately, just not strong enough. And no matter how you try and set the balance of your tone arm, it just the needle's just, it's just too weak. So like when you're trying to cue up the record, like the needle's just skipping and jumping across the record. And obviously that causes risk of scratching the record. You don't want to actually physically scratch the vinyl. So really gutting. So I need to get another stylus at some point. And obviously, what I was gonna say is I just want to get back into playing some more vinyl, because I've got some absolute belters on vinyl, and I love mixing vinyl. And it would be really good to have a go at like trying to get into mixing some vinyl a bit more again. But like I say, I need a new needle, and I need to get something a little bit more upmarket than the 16.99 one that I bought off eBay, that just does no good. If I need to get sort of like the similar one to what's on my right deck, because that is a nice sort of needle, and it's strong. And it obviously works, and then I'll be able to do some actual vinyl mixes, and it should be good. So hard to find. Yeah, they used to sell head shells. To be honest, a lot of people rated that website for buying vinyl. A lot of people rated it for buying sort of like head shells and stuff. And then like a couple of years ago now, I went onto the website to have a little browse around for some things, and I just found like the website had got like really like terrible, like absolutely shocking. Like half of the tracks you were searching for, like on vinyl records, they were out of stock. So like, there was tracks I wanted at the time, and they weren't in stock. And then you'd go on to like Discogs, and because Discogs, it just had so many different people selling different versions. It was a lot better. But to be fair, I've not ordered on Discogs for years now, for a good couple of years. Um, what happened is I was ordering vinyl when I lived at my nan's. I was just sort of getting into it, and I just first got turntables, and I was getting some really good banging records. And then I moved into my mum's house when I moved to Hull, and I ordered some records off. Um, I think it was actually just a record. I ordered a record off that website. It was just one record, and I'm not kidding you, like it took so long to get here, to the point where I just thought at this point, like, I've been ripped off and it's not even gonna come. And then eventually it actually came, and there was so much, like, it went to my old address, and then my grandparents, they sent it on from the old address to my current address. It just took weeks to come. So I bought some good bootlegs from Hard to Find a couple of months back. I quite like it. They slip through the cracks. I think I got ripped on Discogs, bought a record nearly a month ago and haven't received it, the seller. This is what I mean. That is the only thing, and sadly, like the sad generation, the sad world is, there's people out there that are like that, and they'll rip you off when you buy things, and it's not good. Bless it. I mean, all I can say is, hopefully your record comes. If your record doesn't come, take it up with Discogs and demand a refund, because you bought off their website and it's not come. They're at liberty to, you are entitled to get money back if you've not received your item, and if you've got screenshots and proof that the seller. So yeah, if you show them proof that the seller's not replying, if it doesn't come, I'll do that, and I'll buy it from another seller. It's the Dirty Funker remix. Alright, fair enough. But yeah, like I say, I want to buy new records myself, but like, just with this head shell situation. So there we go. So yeah. But anyway, cracking weekend, really. Really fun. So just under 2 weeks now, I go away to Scotland to DJ. So I'm looking forward to that. That's my next gig, and that's where you can catch me. And yeah, vinyl is an expensive business. Well worth every penny. Absolutely well worth every penny. Honestly, a friend of mine just recently, he's been going through a little bit of a tough time, and he's been a little bit strapped for cash. And he had vinyl, he has CDJs, big 4 channel mixer, had the full works, had the full setup, and cut a long story short, he sold the vinyl instead of the digital, and I just thought, no. I just thought, no. You've sold your vinyl, you've sold your turntables. Like, no. Why? Um, and I just thought you absolutely, like, I just thought you mad bastard. Literally. Like, because the thing with digital is, like, it's so easy to get. So like if you buy something off of a website, like say Beatport, you've got an account with Beatport, so you can log into that account and you can re-download that track. Or you get rid of say CDJs or controllers, but you've still got the computer. The music will be still on the computer, whereas you sell your vinyl and your turntables, you're selling that whole collection, and you've got to go out there and buy that collection again, like if ever you get vinyl again in the future. And I just thought, you know, like I couldn't do it. Like I've got just over shy of a 1,000 records, 1,000 vinyl records. I'd never get rid of them. Like the only way I'd get rid of them, the only way I'd get rid of them is if like I had no choice but to get rid of them, if that makes sense. But like, if I didn't need to get rid of them, or like if there's something else I could sell before the vinyls, like I'd sell that before the vinyls. Like now I know, like the guy obviously DJ's out, so like I know in a sense he's gonna DJ like digital, like in clubs more than vinyl, but you can still go on a computer and prep sets together just because you don't have CDJs. You can still load USB sticks up and go to clubs. For me personally, don't get rid of the vinyl. Like no. But he did. He had hard house, hardcore, trance, and I think it all went. I think he might have kept hold of like a couple of the records, but he did. He sold a good chunk, and he sold the turntables. Why? Literally, why? Yeah, in this day and age, mixing vinyl is more impressive. It's impressive because, like, back in the day, vinyl was the thing. So, like, obviously, it was still impressive if you could do it, but it's kind of like, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like, it's what people did back then. It was what was expected of DJs. And it was like the old way. It was the art of mixing. Nowadays, everybody can tap buttons and mix on a controller. And like when somebody who mixes on a controller can jump on a pair of vinyls and they can beat match, it's like a really impressive thing because people are like, wow, you can mix the old way, the proper way. So some people say like people that mix on controllers, like they're not mixing or DJing. The truth is they are. Like they are mixing and DJing. What it is like the technology and the music and the way we do things, it's evolved. So like unfortunately adding all these effects and syncing and doing this and that and tapping loop pads, that is the new way of DJing. Like that is what DJing is today. What you've got to understand is when DJing sort of like became a big thing and rave music became a thing, and people was obviously figuring out that look, if you put two vinyl records together, and try and get them in time and get them in beat, that is forming a mix. And that was DJing at its early stages. So it wasn't necessarily like, that's just the way to DJ, and there's no other way to do it. That was kind of like, that is kind of at the moment, that is what DJing is. And then over the years, DJs evolved. So now we can loop like different sounds, and we can do live mashups on the decks, and beginners can sync their beats up in time just to get them in beat to help them, and stuff like that. It's not that the new way isn't DJing, or it's not the real way. It's just that the sound and and the way we do it, it's evolved, it's improved, it's moved with the times over the years. That now we can do all these different things, but the whole art of DJing is to entertain a crowd. So not necessarily the way you're doing it. Like if people are dancing and you're entertaining the crowd, then you are essentially doing what a DJ is. I see memes online and people say like I'm a DJ, not a jukebox. And a DJ essentially is a jukebox. You play music to people, especially if you're like a wedding DJ or like a party DJ, and you take requests. You are essentially a jukebox. So, but you know what I mean. But yeah, a lot of people, especially like old people, who are sort of stuck in their ways and they don't want to move with the times. I've got a few of them on my Facebook. People say like, "Oh, the old hardcore's not like the new hardcore," and the new labels don't push out like good quality sound like the old days. And don't get me wrong, I love the old hardcore. I love the Cyan Unknown, the Breeze and Styles, the Dougal and Gamma. You know, um, you know, but times have moved, and if you give some of the new music a chance, like I don't think it's actually that bad. There's a lot of good new stuff coming out, especially on the 170 label, and I just kind of think like, you can't live in 1998 forever or 2001. Unfortunately, like DJing evolves and equipment evolves, music evolves, different sounds come in, different styles, different ways of tracks being put together come in, and and unfortunately, it's just the way it is. The way the world is and the way the life is, you cannot live your life living in the past, because you can do it for so long, but at some way or other down the line, there is just it's going to become impossible for you to just live on doing things the old way. So if you just base yourself solely on playing old music, for example, you aren't going to get booked, because at the end of the day there's new crowds coming in, and the new crowd, they don't necessarily know all the old tracks, and they like what's new and they like what's big at the moment. So a lot of people, um, like they slag off Andy Whitby and they say it's Andy Shitby and he plays cheesy music. Now I personally liked him for years. He's been up there as one of my most favourite DJs. But a lot of the young people in the new crowd and the new bounce heads, they like it and they love it. And they want to hear that kind of music at raves. And when someone turns up and plays like an old school sort of 90s hard trance set, for example, and you've kind of got like 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds sort of upwards, sort of coming to the raves. They want to be hearing David Rust and Billy Gillis and Andy Whitby, and the older sets don't necessarily appeal to them. But the DJs that are playing them, unfortunately, some of them, they're stuck in their ways, and they think, I want to keep playing this sound because it's the proper sound. It's not that cheesy stuff. But you know, unfortunately, you're being outdone. The cheesy stuff is what people are wanting. So, unfortunately, times move. But not always, unfortunately, because like there's a lot of good new tracks that do come out. Yeah, I'll agree. There is some bad ones, but you know, we all start somewhere. We all move and progress. So, but there we go. That is Weekend Antics babbling on. So, make sure to like, comment, share. We'll see you soon.